Everybody, welcome back here to another episode of Coming Off the Edge. And today we are currently joined by two people, with myself included, Jeff Bell and Corey. We are waiting on Chef. He is coming back from urgent care.
Yeah,
so I hope his ears okay.
We're kind of in shambles a little bit right now. Chef's in urgent care. Nate is picking up our other co-host Herms, and they're going to hang out a little bit. So, people are predisposed, but that's okay. It's a big, exciting week. So we certainly didn't want to miss talking about football draft week. And anytime we can get together, even if it's just the two of us get together, we need that time to set that time aside. And we said yesterday that we have we're the Romeo and Juliet of our friendship here with our company ties happening here. And anytime you can join those together, you love to see it. So
gang. That's right. So Herms and Nate are hanging out in real life, but me and Jeff and I right here are hanging out, bringing you guys what NFL draft is Thursday, first round.
It is.
We have rookie drafts going, and we also have some chaos updates with whatever else fantasy shenanigans sprinkled in. So maybe the most urgent thing is the NFL draft, since it's Friday. First round, we're not me about like other positions, but we got a lot of fantasy relevant, probably people, especially with what would you say, 5, 6, 7 wide receivers going in the first round?
Yeah, I think you could even get up to 8, maybe. I don't know. I think George Pickens is probably cooling off a little bit because he's got some off the field concerns that have kind of reared their head the last couple of days. But do you have a question?
No, I just have a comment, and I was raising my hand so I don't intervene. But now, since I'm here, I think the line at Pickens is over 36.5 because of what you just alluded to, is with the off the field issues.
Yeah, but I kind of look at it as this has been the story of the offseason. Wide receivers, it started early with quarterbacks, and it seemed like, once Russell Wilson moved and Carson Wentz moved and those kind of got settled in, that storyline died. And then you had Tyreek Hill, you had Devontae Adams really took over. Deebo Samuel right now is taking over. And so that's where the questions lie on these receivers wanting new contracts, these receivers getting traded, and getting that 5th year, I think, is kind of a big deal for a wide receiver right now.
Which means a first round pick.
Round pick.
If I remember, we in our chat, what's up, Ryan? Shout out Ryan. I think Ryan and Tyler, they do their live show Thursday, so check them out over Tyler the fantasy creator YouTube. I don't know. You could follow him. But Deebo, so in the chat, we were talking about how you proposed a trade Deebo, Jimmy G, to get back a high pick for the 49ers to then turn and draft a wide receiver to get that 5th round contract.
Well, yeah, because I said that the 6th overall pick, Carolina, there were rumors that's where Deebo Samuel was from, and that's where there were some rumors that he'd like to return there. And, Carolina certainly has questions at the quarterback position with Sam Darnold right now. But I did see a story a little bit ago that they view Jimmy Garoppolo as not much of an upgrade over Sam Darnold. And, I've kind of, I think that they're in a position where the 6th overall pick is probably a little bit too early to take quarterback, especially I think the quarterback that they want is Kenny Pickett. But I wonder if they're in a situation where they're able to trade back into the mid-teens, get Kenny Pickett, pick up a 2nd round pick or something like that they can use to address the offensive line as well, because that's a major question area of concern for them.
The GM, or I don't know who came out and said, the coach was saying that they will or potentially would take a quarterback at 6th, but I don't know how much of that is a smoke screen trying to get people to trade up to snag a guy or what. But apparently, I think he also said something like there's other teams who have been calling about the pick, so it just seems like a really cycle of a quote from that GM.
Yeah, there was a story I just saw that it said both the Eagles and the Cowboys are really interested in Kayvon Thibodeau if he slips at all. And so I pulled up the trade value chart that I think Rich Hill's trade value chart, but I looked at it with the Eagles' 15th pick. if they were to trade 15 and 51, that's almost exactly equal to the 6th overall pick. And so if Kayvon Thibodeau is slipping, the Eagles could make that trade, move up to 6, grab Kenny Pickett at 15, and then address the offensive line at 51.
Look at that. You and Ryan
There you
are
go,
in
Ryan.
unison.
There you go, Ryan.
And that makes sense, especially with the Eagles. They need that kind of edge rush threat. But not only that from Ryan. So what about Drake London? There are some Niners that think that. Obviously, they're doing their due diligence, especially if they are going to move Debo for an early, I think you said like what, 10 to 13, 10 to 15 overall pick?
I mean, if I were betting right now, I think Deebo Samuel is going to get traded for the 10th pick, and I think that Carolina or that San Francisco is going to go in and take a wide receiver potentially, or Kyle Hamilton's right there. Safety is a need in their defense, and there's a little bit more depth in the wide receiver position. But if I were to bet right now where Deebo ends up, it does seem like the Jets are dedicated to using that 10th overall pick on a wide receiver. They were comfortable paying Tyreek Hill. They essentially had a deal in place to get Tyreek Hill, and then he changed his mind and wanted to go to Miami instead. And so that's where I kind of land on, the Tyreek Hill trade package to Miami. It was roughly equivalent of the 13th overall pick of all the stuff that if you were to aggregate all the moves that happened. So Deebo's a little bit younger and a little bit less wear on the tires there. And so the 10th overall pick seems pretty fair of a price.
Right. Especially alluded to, they've been rumored to get DK Metcalf. So the Jets obviously want to get a wide receiver. They could potentially get Jameson Williams. A lot of people like that because of his deep threat there for Wilson, pair with Elijah Moore. I had a thought, but then I forgot. So we're just going to probably have to move on.
But you look at the Jets offense, they're essentially running an offshoot of what San Francisco runs to begin with. And so I think that you could easily put Deebo into that role, essentially have him in the wide back, the Deebo role in that offense, treat Elijah Moore as Brandon Ayuk in that type of role. And then you're kind of cooking with gas there a little bit with those two options. Michael Carter could be your Elijah Mitchell potentially, or, maybe you go ahead and take Breece Hall in the second round because the Jets have plenty of draft picks. But that could be something that really helps with the big question right now is helping with Zach Wilson's development. And so if you were to take another young wide receiver, then you're kind of working a young wide receiver, young quarterback, really 2 young wide receivers and a young running back. And yeah, that might work great long term, but are you going to get enough in the immediate term that you feel comfortable with him being your guy long term?
Right. How much value does, like, if Deebo is frustrated about being utilized like that wide back, if a team trades for Deebo, would they have to be like, we won't use you like that, we'll like feature as like a true wide receiver 1, or maybe Deebo is cool with that and he just wanted out of San Fran?
There's some conflicting stories that I've seen that, the 49ers claim that they were willing to offer him the money, and Deebo's kind of hinting around that the 49ers are lying. They're basically saying that we wanted to give him the money. He wants a different role, and in a different role, we're not really sure he's worth that money in our offense. And Deebo's kind of pushing back on that and suggesting that might be a little bit of a lie there, that they're kind of trying to save face and pushing it back on Deebo as opposed to in that maybe the money isn't there. It is a real question though, because it's not only the hits, it's the way he gets hit, because when he's taking the edge on that play, he's turning it upfield and he's got the entire defense like in his grill. It's essentially, and it's one of those that, and he usually delivers the blow to the defensive back that's in position. But the NFL defenses are so fast that there's always somebody on that edge. It's not, you watch college football and a player is able to turn the corner and he's able to get an angle on people. The NFL angles don't exist, and so that's you're delivering a blow usually on Deebo's part there, and so those are just extra hits that a receiver is not going to get. But it's a good point because we talk about like players who's going to be the next Deebo, and especially for fantasy football. But that's a bad thing for fantasy production. Deebo's points per game went down when he played that role because targets are worth almost 3 times as much as a carry. And so, yeah. And so, you you're taking targets away from the receiver, you're taking touches away from him that way, you're shifting it to a rush, and so it's a less value carry. And some leagues, especially a PPR league, there's a big difference there, that even a little swing pass is a lot different than doing a reverse.
Shout out to Craig. Someone's always edge. So a question that prompted in my head is, like, are these linebackers like a Micah Parsons, like, are these more athletic guys becoming more prevalent, or have linebackers, like, I think I'm from the Chicagoland area, so I think of like Lance Briggs, Brian Urlacher, maybe a little more like power guys, like the Mike guys, maybe. Is the athletic edgers really becoming prominent now, or has it kind of always just been that?
You're really seeing a shift to base nickel defenses, and what that's doing is it's almost eliminating like Lance Briggs would be a good fit in it. It's almost eliminating Urlacher. You couldn't eliminate Urlacher out of a defense, but it kind of is eliminating like that bigger middle linebacker that you think about, like a guy like Takeo Spikes, that's like just going to be there to stop the run up the middle. And it's, well, they're playing defenses, offenses are playing a cat and mouse game all the time. And you're seeing a lot of defenses right now shifting to 2 high safeties, because that's taking away the deep game. They're able to put 2 safeties back, leave everybody up, but that creates some cushions that not having the extra safety in the box. Seattle's defense way back when, the Legion of Boom, they ran single high safety. And so they always had Cam Chancellor, that extra safety in the box. Now you're running 2 high safeties. And so that's really putting a premium on linebackers that are athletic, that can cover, that can occasionally rush the passer, and that can get to the edge and cover in pursuit angles. And so you're seeing a lot more, because it used to be one of those things where your Mike linebacker was a kind of a plugger, a run stopper. Your strong side linebacker would line up on the tight end. He'd smash down on the tight end. He'd try to set that edge there. And then your will linebacker, your weak linebacker, was kind of covering in space to kind of cover in the other area of the field. And you kind of would shade a safety over to the Sam side, because that's where you would get a little bit of support in that area in the back. Because teams are shifting to that base nickel now with the 2 high safeties, you're wanting 2 linebackers that can cover everything up. You're wanting to be able to rush with 4. You're wanting a nickel back that's almost become a primary defensive role, where you're going to have a hybrid safety cornerback that can cover that third wide receiver but still provide run support. And so that's what you're seeing. And that's where Micah Parsons is a little bit of a cheat code, because he can pinch down. He can be one of those edge guys and allow you to run a little bit lighter personnel. You can bring a defensive end in for pass rush situations, or leave a defensive tackle if you want to use him in that area. And then he's also athletic enough that he can almost cover like a safety, and he can kind of erase the back end. And so you're able to do different things with them. And Devin Lloyd is a guy in this class that kind of fits that similar mold, that you're able to use more versatile situations. Nakobe Dean is another player in this draft that kind of can do those things, but he's a lot smaller. And, he's only a 5'11" guy. And so that kind of takes away. You really want these. Tremont Edmonds is a great example in Buffalo. He's like a 6'5" middle linebacker. And what he's able to do is he's able to erase like kind of that intermediate deep area of the field, because he's so big in coverage. And so like when you've got a smaller linebacker, that doesn't really allow for that.
And so that means height is a factor, maybe wingspan too, just for getting passes over like 6'5", that's 6 inches. And then any other additional height will block any of that intermediate, especially when covering. So now you're talking about switching to the 2 high safety. This is where Kyle Hamilton comes into play, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I've read like the safety, it's the value kind of falls down in the draft because it's somewhat easy to find, but is it really easy to find some skills or tendencies he has for himself? Like maybe you can't teach that, intelligence, IQ on the field, and also maybe speed and acceleration to get from the middle of the field to the sideline.
And his thing is really the size package. He's 6'4", and so it's hard to get guys that are that big and that fluid. And really, it's almost what you kind of want is you almost kind of want 2 nickel backs, but you that way, if you do that, you're allowed to drop one of them and send the other one up, and you don't really know which one's going where. And so like the Bills defense is kind of an example of that, where they have Torrin Johnson, who's their nickelback. Micah Hyde is also kind of a nickelback, but he's essentially the strong safety, but he's able to play up in that nickel role. And so they're able to bring him up, or they're able to drop him back. And so that's really what you want to be able to just use as base personnel as possible, and disguise them into different coverage formations. And so that's what Kyle Hamilton's able to bring. He's that type of player that he can come up and run support. You can drop the nickel back if you wanted to run too high, or drop a cornerback if you wanted to do that. Or you can drop him back and have him play center field. You can drop him back as a too high safety. So he can do all those things. The thing of it is, though, the league has not put a premium on the safety position, and especially, when you're watching the draft in the first round, you're really looking for players who can impact the passing game regularly. So you're looking for a quarterback, a wide receiver, a left tackle, usually, or a pass rusher, or a cornerback is really what a team wants to take. And so, there's been a lot of talk about the Jaguars at number 1. Like, why are they not looking at a guy like Ike Ekwonu or Evan Neal or an offensive lineman there and just solidify the offensive line? But they've got Cam Robinson entrenched at left tackle right now. And so to have that value to put a potential guard or a right tackle in the 101, it just isn't there. It's not in the value consideration in a team. And they're really looking for, and if you're to look at the draft odds right now, the positions that have really solidified themselves at the top of the draft, because we don't really have the quarterback there. The edges are at the top of the draft. You're having cornerback sneak up. Derek Stingley is now the favorite to go number 3 overall to the Texans because he could play that lockdown corner role. And then you're also seeing left tackles landing in potential. Ekwonu is great if you can put him at left tackle, but if you're going to put him at right tackle, there's some value proposition question there.
Interesting. So the first round coming up, we have April 28th. That's Thursday. What time does it start? 7 Eastern? 8 Eastern?
I believe so. 7 or 8. I don't know. I probably should know.
Coverage, maybe 7. Who knows when first pick? But tune in for that. So that's
I think it's probably the type of thing where ESPN tells you it starts at 7 and it actually starts at 8, but
something like that. Yeah. So just
that happens a lot now. It seems like in TV, and it drives me nuts, but it is what it is.
Yeah, one of my favorite Bill Burr jokes, he talks about like the draft is like going to a graduation of like someone you don't even know. Like you could just tune in the next day and it'll have the whole list. But for us nerds, it's exciting stuff, especially when it comes to fantasy or dynasty if you play in these leagues. And speaking of dynasty, we are in a league together. This whole show prefaced on that league. Coming off the edge coat here, we have our Chaos League. And I don't know if anyone remembers, but last year we had 12 commandments. We all picked a rule. My rule was first round was determined by Twitter. Jeff, what was yours?
My rule was if you were the lowest scorer, you had to drop. No, I think that was Nate's rule. I think my rule was you were not allowed. You couldn't start the same lineup 2 weeks in a row. I think was my rule.
Yes. So there was also some
didn't do a great job on some of the rules of enforcing them.
No, I like Dave's. His was the Tuesday switch. There's like negative 0.69 incompletions. I think rushing touchdown for a wide receiver tight end was like 10 points.
Yeah, I should have kept that because I have Debo on my team, so I should have kept that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. There were so many cool ones. So this year, you as the champion got to select 2 you wanted to keep, and you selected.
So I stuck with the Matthew Berry rule, and Matthew Berry's rule, we do a separate draft for a backup quarterback. If the backup quarterback enters the game, it replaces your starting quarterback spot. And so I kept that rule. And then I kept Steph's rule where you cannot select back-to-back positions in the draft. And I, that kind of plays into, we launched our rookie draft today, and that was kind of played into my choice because I had the 105 and the 106, made some trades to get in those positions. And so essentially, if I were to have taken Jameson Williams at the 105. I couldn't have taken Treylon Burks at the 106. And so that's a rule that it leads to a little bit of chaos as you get deeper into your draft.
That's right. So we provided everybody with the opportunity to keep their rule or make a new one. So COTE switched up her rule. Her new rule is loser must compliment the winner. That's very nice.
I think that's a good rule. Yes.
Chef wanted to keep the Homer roster. We must have one player from our favorite team.
We probably need to double check that because I don't know if we really policed that. I wondered that last year of like, I don't think anybody went through and made sure somebody had a player from their favorite team on the roster.
But like you said before, there was a lot of rules that we kind of like got lax, but I think we all at least drafted one, so we at least had one. I just switched my team from the Bengals to the Lions, so I'm working on that.
Do you have a Lion on your team?
I'm working on it. I think waivers clear soon, right?
Okay. I was gonna say, do I have a Lion on my team that I could trade you?
But I changed my rule because the first round Twitter can't decide that. So I did random assign the playoffs. So this will be specifically for the people who make it. So it's not like the best team will play the worst. Maybe the second best team plays the best team. Maybe the worst plays.
So are there like bye? Like if you're the 6th seed, can you randomly get the bye?
Sure. The playoff structure will be like that format, and we'll just I don't know how we'll randomly assign. Maybe I'll do that like, the circle thing where it's
that seems kind of wild to earn a bye and not get a bye.
Welcome. It's the chaos commandment. Well, what was my first one? I wanted to have the nuke button and then be able to nuke the league whenever I wanted.
Yeah, I really like my team in that league, and I definitely push back on that. I've done a lot of hard work on my roster, and so nuking it would break my heart because I've got my guy Josh Allen as my franchise homer. I've got both Kyle Pitts and Mark Andrews. I've got Deshaun Watson. I got a pretty good team. That probably why I won last year,
and probably will win this year. Anyways, your new rule: you went second game versus the median.
Yeah, I really like that. I think every league should do that. It just, it kind of changes the luck factor in a league. It allows you to keep those head-to-head matchups that are a lot of fun, but it also kind of eliminates those. Okay, well, I had the second highest score by a loss this week. You still get a win out of it, and something that I really like in leagues.
Exactly, that's a good one. Whose was this? The Homer Thursday 2 times bonus. I think this was Swanson. Who's on the clock, by the way?
Yes.
So if you're anyone from your hometown team, if you start them and they're playing a Thursday game, you will get 2 times their points. I thought that's an interesting rule. I mean, you're lucky with Josh Allen.
Yes, that
you're like, heck yeah, whatever.
An 80-point Thursday Josh Allen game would be a lot of fun, and that's part of the. I made a trade with COTE like right before we were gonna draft, and I traded her Jameis Winston, her hometown quarterback, and she was able to get that, and I was able to move up and get into the middle of the first round, get a 23 first, and I sent some seconds her way, so we did a little bit of moving around, but that we're kind of hoping for those Thursday night games and get your own home team players.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to maybe
get Swift on your team.
Corey. I know. I was thinking, okay, I have Barkley, I have Josh Jacobs, I have Gibson. Who has Swift? I don't know, but I'll have to look into it. It's actually really cool. A COTE. We'll have to think about that.
Yeah,
it's like Trophy Smack. I know you're watching. If you want to give us a COTE, we'll gladly shout you guys out all the time. Okay, so let's just run through these rules. We'll get into our rookie
We didn't
draft.
do the Uno rule.
Yeah, obviously, 10 and 11, we're missing a rule. We're still waiting on a couple people to give us a rule, but this is what we have now. The Uno card game rule that was proposed by Taylor. Shout out to Taylor, the Who Dey Den podcast. We're working out the kinks with that. Jeff, you had a good way of determining how we get Uno cards.
Yeah, so I said that we can look at the highest scoring quarterback, the highest scoring running back, the highest scoring wide receiver, and the highest scoring tight end for each week. And then if you've got one of those players on your roster, you pull an Uno card. And if you get a number on the Uno card, you get that number added to the score for the player. Or if you get an action card for the Uno, we can use those in waivers. And so if you get a reverse and somebody makes a waiver move that you don't like, you can reverse them and they have to put it back. Or you can get a skip and say, well, Corey can't run waivers this week. I'm using my skip on him. And then draw 2, what we talked about, draw 2, you have to make just 2 waiver moves that week. And so just kind of a handful of different things that you could potentially do. Just to, I think it's a great idea from Taylor, and we kind of like took it and ran with it a little bit. And these are just have fun in your fantasy leagues. And I think that where a lot of people run into the same grind every year, and or they try to spice things up. And this is probably an example of we try to spice things up and we make it a little bit too complicated, but at the same time, it's just completely different. And we always, even last year, with the Matthew Berry rule, like we didn't really even knew who won the week until like the middle of the day on Tuesdays, or like whenever I got around to kind of figuring out who got changed between the Tuesday switch and the Matthew Berry rule. There were all kinds of things going on.
This is great. Like you alluded to it, it's just to have fun with your league, and these are fun rules to keep us involved and around. So it's really fun. Whenever we get these next 2 rules, we'll keep you updated. I think there's 3 people left to make a rule. We have Swanson, Juan, and Herms.
Nate. So like we have 3 people with 2 rules. So whoever is the first 2 to make rules, they can have rules. Or maybe we'll just go with the 13 commandments, because that probably is pretty fitting for what we do. Maybe we can go with 14 commandments. Who knows?
Maybe we could have a Twitter involved with one. Okay. But speaking of the Chaos League, so remember, everyone who may be watching this in the future or now, when we say we cannot pick back-to-back selections, that means for our team, obviously not me and Jeff doing anything wrong, but that means Juan went Malik Willis 1.01. Whenever he has his next pick, he must take running back, receiver, tight end, etc., etc. So there are interesting rules to how this draft will be the first round. Like you alluded to, you have a little bit of thought because you went Jameson Williams and then Kenneth Walker. Your next pick, I believe, is the 2.01, which typically there's probably a little bit more wide receiver, quarterback, or tight end talent there compared potentially to a running back, especially maybe Isaiah Spiller is the main wild card, which Chef took at 1.07. So maybe speak a little bit about that strategy of taking Jameson Williams first and then Kenneth Walker.
Sure. I do want to point out first, before somebody panics and freaks out, that Juan took Malik Willis and didn't take Breece Hall number 1, because everybody thinks that you have to take Breece Hall number 1 in your leagues. This is a 2 super flex plus a starting quarterback.
Oh.
So you can have 3 quarterbacks in your roster. And so that's why Juan took Malik Willis number 1. You could have had Breece Hall and you traded him, and you didn't work out negotiations with me, Corey. I'm a little bit upset with you there, but it is what it is.
I got
but no, I had the I had a second too, but I'm just saying. Anyways, I had the
and you gave me players.
Yeah. Well, I had that 105 and the 106 right next to each other, and so I knew I couldn't take 2 wide receivers, and so kind of looked at who's going to be available in the early second round, and I felt a lot better with the wide receiver depth. You mentioned Spiller. He would really be the only guy, I think, that in that 2.01 who could potentially be there, and so that's why I took Walker after that.
And there you go. So, yeah, you alluded to it. Like, I know I could have got Breece Hall, but I was like, I got some guys.
You have good running backs on your team, yeah. You needed a wide receiver.
No, I mean, but I have a ton, and I know I've been speaking with Herms, who's been interested in a wide receiver. Like, I have a lot of wide receivers, like Corey Davis, Sutton, Judy. I felt like maybe I could solidify getting like a more true wide receiver one to pair with like Tyreek Hill.
Sure.
I forgot. I don't know if I have DJ Moore too, but I don't know. I was happy to trade back one spot and move up from the 3.03 to 2.07. Especially if what I believe will happen right here, that I could benefit here with that rule. There's just so much to think about, and it's insane.
Yeah, you're really going to get into like some of it, because you see a lot of value with wide receivers kind of in that second round or the early second round. And you see a lot of running backs kind of land later. And, this is a 5-round draft too. And so that opens up a lot of questions. But, somebody like Nate going with the 102 there on Garrett Wilson, if he swings around and somebody like Sky Moore is the clear best player, he's not able to go there. So he's got to go to different position there.
And it looks like he's interesting. It has to be a running back. He has McCaffrey and Melvin Gordon as his guys, but
he's got Jared Goff there for you, Corey. You can get your hometown quarterback.
Oh, maybe we could talk about that. But yeah, it's a very interesting to not take back to back. Like I will have to take a not a wide receiver here, but I also figured you were going to take Sky Moore at 2.01. So I was like happy about it. And also, to be honest, I really wasn't thinking about the rule when I made the trade with Troy.
Could have traded with me, Corey. What could have been?
I'm really happy. But here's our league, the Chaos League. I don't know if you want to get into any of us.
Well, Ryan makes a good point. He's talking about how he's seeing it different than mocks that he's seen. And that's something that I think that I don't like doing mocks, to be honest with you. But that's something that I've seen in the past where I think when you're in a mock draft situation, people like to hold their cards close to their vest. And I think that you run into situations where people will stick closer to consensus in a mock draft because what they're really wanting to see is kind of the tier breaks, kind of where players are falling. And then I think when you actually get into it and you're on the clock there, I think that then you get into situations where people are willing to get their guy more and they're willing to move outside of consensus a little bit more.
Yeah, it's really super fun because it just, like you're saying, you could just, what am I doing? You're able to move around a little bit, like,
all over the place.
Nate, it's like, will he take a running back he believes in, like maybe Rashad White or Zamir White? Isaiah Spiller's gone. Maybe he was hoping to get him there, especially with getting Garrett Wilson, who arguably is the wide receiver 1 in this class. But, you could probably pick and choose just however you feel. But Nate will have an interesting thing. I'm curious on his team. Yeah, I wonder who he'll take. It'll be interesting. So we could keep everyone updated with here. So shout out to Ryan.
That's the other thing too. This league is very wonky because you can start 3 quarterbacks. It is start 2 tight ends, and so having Kyle Pitts and Mark Andrews on my roster that helps a little bit.
Dude, I should have took Brees Hall. Got DJ. Who wants? You want Bateman? Who liked Bateman? Was that Kluge?
Not particularly.
Was that Dave?
I think Dave is a Bateman fan, yeah.
I also have his boy Sutton. I looked and Steph has Swift. So you think I should just offer up Saquon for her?
Well, I don't know if she likes.
I know
having Swift or having Saquon.
Homer, the Tuesday Homer.
Yeah, Thursday I don't know who. I feel like we should police some people while we're here and make sure that people have homers.
Oh, you have Josh Allen, Steph. We're looking for.
Giant
Tony.
Yeah,
maybe not for long.
Kadarius Toney, who's Chef got on his roster.
He's also a Giants fan. He has Daniel Jones, but not for long. Okay. I think they have a couple days or a week to decide on his 5th round option, which he'd get paid like 23 million.
Does Herms have a Steeler? He's got Juju, former Steeler. That was a bit of misfortune there because I traded Juju like the day before. I think I might have even traded Juju the morning that Tyreek Hill got traded.
Oh yeah,
that came out of nowhere.
Herms does not have a Steeler Herms, but I do have Freiermuth. If you're interested,
we gotta put it. Herms need to get a Steeler.
Is this you typing? That's so funny. Herms needed a Steeler. Hit me up.
All right. Does Dave has a bear? Dave has Justin Fields.
Dave has Justin Fields. He is. And
Cooter has Jameis. So we did that trade.
Jameis, Marquez. Juan, the Dolphins fan, does not.
I don't see a Dolphin on his roster. He traded me. Well, he does. He's got Phillip Lindsay. So he's got Mostert. He's good.
Oh, he does have Mostert?
He's got Mostert, yeah. Nate's got a Bronco currently-ish. Because he's got Melvin Gordon and he's got
Albert Okwuegbunam, so he's fine.
Damn. Does Troy have a Dolphin? Troy's got Waddle.
Dude, you're going so fast, bro.
I don't know. Does Taylor have a Bengal?
He's got like Higgins or something. Does he have Burrow?
He used to have Auden Tate. He does. I don't think he's got a.
He doesn't have. He does not.
See that Homer.
Let's go.
That's right, Chef. We're breaking down on it, so we've got to. All right, Taylor needs a Bengal.
To make some moves.
Taylor. Police. And then what is John's? Johnson's favorite team?
Eagles.
He's an Eagles fan.
Eagles. How did you know that? Let's see who he has.
Boston Scott.
Boston. He just signed with the Jaguars, no?
Oh.
Did he?
Oh, he re-signed with the Eagles. My fault.
Yeah.
So he's
Okay.
set for now.
He's got an Eagle.
So
All right,
we
so
have
yeah.
2 red flags.
So we got to figure out some punishment for them.
Who are the
if
2?
they don't make a deal.
If anyone tuned in here, we have a
Steeler, and Taylor needs a Bengal.
yes.
Taylor had Auden Tate, so Taylor got lost there.
And to be fair, Herms took over the team mid-year, so he wasn't able to truly get that. So this offseason, we'll have to work on it. If anyone's tuning in, we have a homer rule. We must roster 1 player from our home league. I also don't have a Lions player, but
Make a deal, Corey.
Yourself.
no, but there's other ways of getting a player.
Yeah, trading to me.
You're gonna have to trade Barkley and a pick to Steph for Swift because she's certainly not doing Barkley straight up for Swift.
No. Or maybe Nate, if you want to give me Goff, I do need a quarterback. It looks like you also you have he might want to keep him though.
I'm surprised you don't have Amon.
I have no Lions.
So maybe I'll hit up Steph. I don't really want Amon Ra. What if
I feel like that would have been a player you would have grabbed last year. But
no, I don't know. We'll
I guess
see.
that was pre-draft though, so we try to draft pre-drafts. We're in a roadblock right now. We got to.
I should have became a Jets fan.
I mean, I took Jamar Chase pre-draft.
That worked out.
Yeah, where did I take him?
Who else? What about
107.
Who was
We
Hawkins?
could let's look at last year's draft. That's a fun thing that we could do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey Ryan, if you're still watching this will be. Oh, oops.
I was gonna say this is engrossing. I don't care. I'm just hanging out with friends, man.
Yeah, man, this is what we do.
There's really not. We got the draft coming. Oh, this was.
Here we go. Okay.
This is the rookie draft.
No, that's the rookie. Yeah, that's what we want to see. The rookie draft.
Oh, I thought you wanted to look at the.
No.
My fault, bro. How do I get back?
I don't know where you even went to.
What's 2020?
You're not even in a
different league.
You're not even in our league.
How did it just leave like that?
I don't know what you did.
Okay. Previously, 2021 draft results. So this is the rookie draft.
Here we go. Okay.
Let's just follow Troy. So he went Zach Wilson, then had to go running, or he went Waddle.
Waddle was an absolute steal at 201.
Wow, he actually went Mitchell at 2.11.
Mitchell is a slam dunk at 211. That Troy cleaned up a little bit there. Poor Javian Hawkins didn't do anything, but so we didn't go the full 5 rounds last year. We drafted placeholders.
I think, yeah. And so you went Pitts first, followed up with Moore, then Mills, and then Seth Williams. Who's P. Williams? Puka.
Yeah.
Schwartz. Pretty
Puka
solid
Williams,
there.
yeah.
So everyone's following the thank you. Thank you, Craig. Everyone's following the rules. Chef, you broke rules.
You broke rules, Chef. Oh my gosh. I feel so betrayed.
Did I though?
Well, he took Miami, so whatever.
Nah, I took
You took Chase then Miami.
Chase and then Miami, bro.
You just broke rules left and right there. Jamie Newman. I miss Jamie Newman. That was an era.
Look at that, dude. I went Bateman.
You broke rules too, Corey.
No, Bateman, Freiermuth, Moore. Oh, I did.
Yeah.
No.
3 tight ends.
No, Bridgewater.
And 2 wide receivers.
Bridgewater was a placeholder for Jalen Darden because he was not in the draft.
Yeah, and then how do you explain Jordan then? Brevin Jordan.
After
Freiermuth.
After Elijah.
He had Elijah in the middle.
Do you
Freiermuth and Elijah there. That's pretty good. Golly.
So wait, if you draft one, then you can't draft another one right behind it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, when Freiermuth, Elijah, then Brevin.
So I didn't do that, did I?
Yeah,
you did do it.
You went
3 wide
and
receivers.
Then Brown. No, and then Newman. So it's going right and then like a snake.
I feel like I took a running back somewhere.
I don't know, man. I think you're
Doesn't look like it.
getting us. Here's Dave. Oh wow, Mac Jones and then Javante. Steph went Etienne, Tony, Sermon, R.I.P. Oh, she also has St. Brown. Maybe
I'm on middle of the third round. That's a good pick.
She took
again,
KJ Hill.
But again, people like that, like Terrace Marshall went 3.06, who was a second-round pick, but like due to our rule, these guys are falling. So if anyone's watching this, we're professionals.
Yeah, wide receivers pushed down a little bit.
What's the draft currently look like? I know I just took Spiller. Did John go?
John has. John. No, he is not gone. So we're stuck
Taylor
on
did
him.
not have a pick.
Who did not?
Taylor
did not have a pick.
John went. I mean, he went guys like these Tamar and Terry, Larry Roundtree.
Tamar and Terry might have murdered a guy and is not in the NFL, so he's still on his roster.
And then Chef. Why does it go back to like my home?
I don't know, because you click over. You clicked over there on the left side. That's why.
You guys want to see my home league?
I did what I normally don't do and don't advise to do is I just looked and said, all right, I'll take Isaiah Spiller. Like that's what I did. I think he can land in the Giants at the Giants. We did mock him there last week, didn't we? I think we did.
I mean, he has.
If he does, then that might be interesting in day 2 or day 3.
Right.
Well, hopefully it's just day 2 and it's not day 3.
I feel like we need to bring Craig in as the rule enforcer.
I kind of wish I went quarterback here because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a quarterback in the second round.
Oh, you have a second round pick? You don't have a second round pick, so you're 307 is your next pick.
Hey, I got 2.07, 2.0.
Oh well, Jamar Chase is on the block, and so is Calvin Ridley.
I got you on my seconds for Chase.
Seconds?
I'll give you the 2-1 for Jamar Chase.
Seconds?
Like, are you kidding me, bro? Do you have a lion? No, you said no already, right?
No, I don't have any lions.
Yeah, I can't talk to you. Steph, you have 2 of them, so if we could talk. Oh, well, I mean, if you still want like the 2.07 or something, let me know. No? He's like, not that much. Maybe the rule enforcer will be Craig then?
There we go.
Well, what's happening?
Right. I gave my 207 to
what's
Troy.
Happening?
Didn't I?
Yeah, and then I got it.
And then he traded it to you.
Yeah,
I don't know, Corey. That was kind of light for Brees, I feel like.
So, guys, I have an ear infection.
Yeah. You
ear
do?
infection. That's
I haven't had one of these since I was like a little kid.
Do your ear just hurt? Did you get drops for it?
I don't know what I got yet. Some antibiotics and some nasal spray, apparently.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's definitely
cool.
weird. Yeah, that's a nice little desktop.
Whoa.
You actually like this, guys?
That's tricky. Yeah, I think that's cool shit.
Yeah.
We got
you got the recycling bin right next to your desk there.
And then the Google Chrome. And
then
over
clever.
Here, got my resume and cover letter, and then just some storage. Oh, I have the Barry rule here, which I can get rid of. And this got my articles.
Don't ever get rid of that Barry rule.
Excel sheet.
Yeah, so I made it here, guys. I tried my hardest. Like, what's the most? It's the worst thing in the world when you turn around. You have to wait in a doctor's office. First, you have to wait to go in the doctor's office. So the urgent care center facility that we have here, no names mentioned, but I waited an hour to get in the building. You walk in, it doesn't look busy at all. A couple cars in the parking lot. You sign in, you do your insurance thing over the counter, blah, 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 blah. They're like, go wait in your car. They'll call you. So while you're waiting in the car and reading Bucky Brooks's mock draft 4.0 and realizing that he only has one quarterback going in the first round is just total BS. You get a UpDocs thing where you need to start filling in information for the doctor. And then by that time, they finally call you. So this is like 45 minutes you've been sitting in the parking lot. They call you and they take your information, yada, yada, yada. What are your symptoms? Oh, well, I think I have an ear infection. How do you know you have an ear infection? Well, my ear hurts. That's usually how it goes. Like, I know my body pretty well. I'm sick. Help me. Sign me up for drugs. Thank you. They're like, all right, well, we're busy. It may take like another half hour. I said, okay, whatever. I really need this prescription. I'm in pain. So then I go into the doctor's office after a half hour of waiting again in the parking lot. And so we're at an hour and 15 minutes. I sit in this room. They're like, all right, go right in here, sit down, and we'll be with you. They come in right away, take my vitals. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to make the show. It's going to be awesome. And they take my vitals. My vitals are fine. They said, okay, we're really busy, as you can tell. I said, yeah, I don't see how it's super busy, but hey, okay, you say you're busy. I wait another 45 minutes for the doctor to come in the room.
First world problems.
To tell me that I have an ear infection, which I personally diagnosed to myself. This is like the third, fourth time that I've been to the doctor's office in the past year, which I've diagnosed it correctly. I think I'm in the wrong profession. I really think so. Like, I should just be like
Corey,
a registered nurse.
Corey makes a point there that access to medical care, that's first world problems there, Chef. Like you had to wait and read a mock draft. Goodness.
He had to be late for the show.
Yeah, I was more upset about almost missing the show, to be honest.
Well, I'm happy that you're able to make it. So we talked about football, we talked about our league, we talked about our draft, we talked about rules. So,
nice.
It's draft week. Who do you want the Giants to draft, Chef? Who's your ideal draft?
I would love for Hutchinson to fall to us, but I don't think it's going to happen. I've been seeing Eason. Is that his name? Eason?
At 4 or 5. What do you guys have? 5?
At 5, yeah.
4 for Jets.
We have 5 and 7.
Yeah, Jets have 4 and 7.
So I think we're going.
Shout out the Bears.
I think we're going offensive line again, and then we're going to look to either get a linebacker or an edge rusher. I think the edge rusher from Alabama keeps falling to us. So.
Bonito?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know their names. Dude.
I'm very
Jeff does.
I know their names, but I don't know edge rusher from Alabama.
Nick Bonito, right? Isn't that the Alabama guy?
That's an Oklahoma guy. That's like the early. That's
colors.
like
give me
props. Pick.
Give me props for that. Bills.
Neal's the offensive tackle from Alabama. If you're getting the Bills, I really hope the Bills trade up. I'm really hoping that they. There's some whispers that that's kind of what they want to do because I don't think they have enough. They basically don't have enough roster positions for all their draft picks, and so there's been some whispers that they're looking to aggressively trade up because reality of it is most teams in the league have anywhere between 15 to 20 first round grades on players, and so the Bills are sitting there at 25, and so to move up into that area, give up a couple picks and get a player that they have evaluated as a first round pick. If they sit at 25, I've come around on. I kind of would like Breece Hall. I think that would be fun to have in the offense. But
I think that's going to happen for you, Jeff. I see so many people mocking Breece Hall to the Bills, and he's the only one that is worth going in the first round. And you guys really don't need anything. You guys are solid.
I think they would. It's I don't know. Everybody in the draft.
Hawkinson just got his 5th-year option picked up.
There you go. That's shocking. I think they want to move up, or they probably would love to move back to a team that has like an early second-round pick that wants to get a quarterback and then grab Hall there. But I don't know.
So. Shout out Ryan. Jeff, what are you looking forward to on night 1? Is it more personal for the Bills, maybe to move up for a top talents guy that you were talking about, or is there more a fantasy type thing for you?
It's definitely more fantasy type thing. I don't know. When you're involved in this, and especially when you're like doing Debbie work and you're kind of building your rookie rankings and those type of things, you're really just hoping. I'm hoping to have hits, like I'm hoping that my rankings hold up pretty well with the first round and even through day 2 is what I'm really hoping for. What's up?
Are your rankings, especially when you're doing a 3-round mock draft for the NFL, is it, I guess I'm trying to say, like, is it more like subjective to talent or maybe what you believe they're going to be taking, maybe a mixture of both?
So when I did my mock draft article for Football Guys, that was entirely based on what I believed the team was going to take. And unfortunately, it's like, here we are. I spent like 20 hours writing that up, and it was like 20 words. And now we're like 3 days later, and I would change the entire thing.
Right.
And so, that's a lot of fun that you can do that because we've gotten, I don't know, but it is smokescreen season, so there might be questions there. But
so when you say you're going to change it up, is it position? Like you gave him this specific edge, you wish you gave him this edge, or is it like
it's a lot of that stuff. So I had a tweet earlier about where DraftKings is kind of, if you had the top 10 according to how DraftKings sees it going on the best betting odds, and they're pretty married to Trayvon Walker going number 1. Like I had him going to 9 to Seattle, and then I had Aiden Hutchinson going 1, and they've got him going 2. They got Derek Stingley going 3 to the Texans, and it kind of seems like that's been pretty hot and heavy, and like I have him at 12, and so it's changes like that.
Right, but you also don't have, like, I don't want to call it inside information, but that those little tidbits that like these professional people who are at these higher up places have, which may help them mock, or like Vegas, we tend to think they know a little bit of stuff when they set their like specific, like we just talked about George Pickens over at 36.5. They must know some things that we don't know. Like we would love to give Pickens to, maybe the Packers or the Giants there at the late first, but they must know something. So
and they've got teams of handicappers working on those things. And that's kind of what I go, like when we make our rookie rankings, I try my very best to watch everybody that's relevant and try to even go beyond that, and build it off that. I look at production profiles, things like that like who athleticism, who can fit into roles in the NFL. But the reality of it is these teams have teams of scouts that are spending probably at this point 60, 70 hours a week on these players and building it that way. So I feel like there's a little bit of like stick to your ranks, like in the fantasy space, like people believe, but I don't know. I am much more like last year with Jalen Waddle. If the Dolphins tell us that Jalen Waddle is the 6th overall player in the draft, we probably should have been a little bit more aggressive in fantasy on moving him up. Like there were people that still had Bateman or Rondale Moore in front of him and things like that. I think that we should not ignore. If a player goes an entire round in front of somebody else, that I think that you probably should make a note and change in your rankings.
Great point, Chef.
Unless it's like Kadarius Toney,
Well, he went in the first.
You gotta look at
but even him, like he went in the first round, and he was landing until like the late second in rookie drafts.
Yeah, he went late in rookie drafts.
Make any sort of sense at all to me.
Nope.
I think it was big. The analytical crowd did not like his profile. He's like the worst first round profile coming out, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, but teach me there, because
doesn't surprise me.
He's got first round draft capital though. Like, doesn't that kind of trump some things?
It does.
For sure.
It does. I mean, his contract's a little bit longer. Like that's why they try to trade out of it, which they're not doing now because he showed up.
Woohoo! Instinctually though, it's the type of thing of if a guy is a first round pick, I think that you run into a situation where the team is going to give him every single opportunity to prove that they got that pick right, because it looks bad on them if they didn't.
Right.
Whereas if a guy's a day 3 pick and he's not able to earn his way on the field, he's just not going to play. And so I think that that's kind of, you can potentially run into traps going that way, and a first round pick that can't actually play. But again, the team's going to make sure that he can't play before they really just move on from him.
I think the Giants probably stick with their fifth overall, but look to trade their 7th back and move back, maybe pick up some later, because their salary cap right now is only, I think it's like 5.5 million, and if they take 2 rookies that high up,
that's a lot.
That's it equates to I think like $12 million. So somebody's getting cut.
Yeah, I think what I saw in your stuff was that you need to either trade James Bradbury in order to fit your rookies in, or you need to restructure Kenny Golladay.
Yeah, well, I mean, restructuring Kenny Golladay sounds right, but Bucky Brooks, I guess, hit it on the head. Then he picked Evan Neal, offensive tackle from Alabama, and then he took Derek Stingley, the cornerback from LSU. So
because you're going to get rid of Bradbury.
Yeah, I don't want to get rid of Bradbury. I think Bradbury is an amazing talent, and he deserves to be on our team. I think they move back. I think there's some teams like the Saints. They have 2 picks. They want to move up and grab one of their quarterbacks or another wide receiver. Yeah, I'm not sure about how it's all going to unfold, but I think it's going to be exciting. Either way, I'm unfortunately not going to be able to see a lot of it because I have a rehearsal dinner that night, which sucks. I'm happy for the wedding party, but I'm really upset that yeah, I'm gonna have to bring my iPad.
What are my best arguments against T. Higgins? So, Corey, you hiding that comment? You don't want us to see that?
No,
interview Corey tomorrow. What are
you're the only one that answered this one. We had two more people to answer this question.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Who cares about me and Chef? But yeah, tomorrow I'm doing his player normal activity, Craig's new interview show with Roto Heat. I believe it's like youtube.com, just like Roto Heat Fantasy or something like that. I'm sorry, Craig, if I'm butchering that. But the first part, we talk about a specific fantasy player. I'm noting T. Higgins. And then we end the show, player normal activity. You talk about some ghost stories or any type of paranormal activity that you may have experienced growing up or whatever. So pretty interesting, cool idea for sure. So I think it comes out Fridays. I'm not sure about the time, but we're recording tomorrow and it comes out Fridays.
I mean, I guess the one thing that you could mention about T. Higgins is that he's like a boomer bust kind of player in the sense that he hits, and when he does hit, it's very valuable for fantasy. But then he's had some weeks where he just pretty much disappears on the field. And that's the whole thing. Like, you're not gonna, I mean, I don't know what you're comparing him to as far as like if Craig has Jamar Chase or something like that, but those guys go hand in hand. Like, one week it was Chase, then it was Higgins, then it was both of them, then it was none of them, and Tyler Boyd went off, and Uzama got into the end zone the one crazy week he had. And it's gonna be hard to peg which week and which matchup Higgins is going to.
He had 4 games under 10 points.
Yeah,
it's kind of.
What?
I don't know.
What's wrong with that?
I think there's a little bit of a chicken or the egg there because it's like there's not a lot of volume for the wide receivers, but at the same time, when you've got T. Higgins making plays on the ball 50 yards down the field, or Jamar Chase breaking a tackle and going 75 yards, like it's kind of is there like you don't need to throw 12 passes to them when they can score in one play.
You wait a second. So this is great for Corey that just said, oh, well, he only was 4 games under 10 fantasy points, right? But he only played 10 games. So
he played 14 games, man.
14?
Try again.
You sure?
Yeah.
He scored a touchdown.
100% sure. His boom games are going to win you more weeks than his dud games will lose you weeks. And that's
Are they really going to win you the week, though? Like 13 fantasy points aren't going to win you the week. Those are average weeks.
Yeah, his
the 1,
games,
2, 3,
43.4 points.
Yeah, I know. It's great. He had 3 games over 20 fantasy points. Those are the games that you want to focus in on when you talk about T. Higgins and his ceiling, because he does have a great ceiling for fantasy football. Unfortunately, he does not hit his ceiling each and every week. He is not the main threat there, and he has to compete for target share with Chase.
Do you know how much targets they both had while playing together?
Not off the top of my head, Corey, but I know they both went over 100.
Targets. They both had 110 targets while playing together.
That's nice. Evenly distributed. What?
Yeah, so he's not competing with anybody.
All right, so then why isn't he hitting his ceiling each and every week if he's not competing?
It's a wide receiver, and that's
so what happened after the Bengals week 10? The Bengals started to get more aggressive on early down throws, and from week 12 on, he averaged 107.5 yards per game, second to Cooper Kupp, who had 110.5. Shout out to Jeff Bell. If we're extrapolating, he would have had 1,800 yards, like 140, 150 targets, and then like 100 catches. So
you shouldn't extrapolate on things that have already happened in the past.
When the offense changed, when the offense
result.
changed is when Higgins blew up, and that didn't even count his 3 postseason games over 96 yards. Higgins is I'm not saying it right now. The better Bengals wide receiver.
Get the hell out of here. That is not the case. He's not better than Jamar Chase, dude.
Better Bengals wide receiver. Better Bengals.
He was great. And guess what? If Jamar Chase wasn't there, he would be a wide receiver 1 in Dynasty. He would be a wide receiver 1 in fantasy.
Higgins is a wide receiver 1.
I wish I had T. Higgins on a lot of rosters.
Tell me which website has T. Higgins below a wide receiver 1. DLF wide receiver 7, Undroppables wide receiver 8, Keep Trade Cut is 11, and I think Fantasy Pros might be 12, if I'm remembering correctly.
Draft Rank ECR 35.
Wide receiver 35.
It might be overall. Let me see.
I feel like I do not believe I would call shenanigans on T. Higgins being ranked wide receiver 35.
Shenanigans.
I'm telling you, he's a top 5. He's top 5.
ADP.
More fun to say.
Come on.
I think Fantasy Pros might have the lowest. So whatever Fantasy Pros is.
Do I have him in my rankings?
And honestly, that was good to prepare me for this so I could yell at Craig tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Make
like
sure you yell back because T. Higgins is wide receiver 24, bro.
In what? He's not wide receiver 24 in Dynasty.
Fantasy Pros.
He's not wide receiver 24. What do you think I'm talking about?
I don't know. You said ADP.
What do you think he is for me,
ADP.
Corey?
I didn't say ADP. I said he's top. What did you say, Jeff?
What do you think he is for my Dynasty rankings?
9.
5.
That's where I have him. And that's what I'm arguing on the player normal activity is he's a top 5. I'm not arguing. I don't know. But I'm going to yell it to the crowd. Top 5.
So wait, you have him over a lot of people.
I have 5th.
A lot.
I have him. I don't really do rankings, but if I did, he'd probably be 5th, behind Chase, Jefferson, maybe AJ Brown.
So you have him in front of CD Lamb.
Absolutely. If you have CD Lamb top 5, Higgins already performed better than Lamb.
Okay, but Amari Cooper's not there anymore.
He's bad. Lamb's only had a 20% target share that ranked 67th in his rookie season and then 32nd his sophomore season. In just 14 games, if we include all of the Bengals targets, Higgins hit 20.4, and that's while missing those 3 games.
I'm going to pick on you a little bit, and don't take this personally, Corey, but
Jeff said he had top 5 too.
Wait. Let me set the plate for you real fast.
So you're picking on us both here.
No. I'm not. I know for a fact that you are young in fantasy football, correct? And the past 2 years that I've known you, 2 blissful, great years, yes, 2 great years that I've known you, you have seen players like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase come out of college and hit. Boom. What you forget is that there used to be a 3-year rule that wide receivers have 3 years to hit. This is the year that CeeDee Lamb blows it up. He has, yeah, for sure. Why wouldn't it be?
He's not an alpha.
He is most certainly an alpha.
But yet he's only had a 32nd overall target share in his first 2 years. That's not pretty good.
There are so many targets available. Oh my goodness.
Vacated targets are bad. Dude.
In his first year, Dak got hurt. All right. So scratch that. Just take it right off the table. Just like we did for T. Higgins. Just take it right off the table because he got hurt. Okay. Now last year they had Amari Cooper and they had
fake alpha too.
All right. Schultz stepped in and calls for targets. And their run game lacked because Zeke was apparently hurt more so than we thought.
Pollard was,
but there's no reason why you should if you're discounting CeeDee Lamb that much. Let me know the leagues that you have him and I don't, and we're in together, and I will definitely trade it for him.
It's easily Higgins over Lamb straight up.
Oh my God! Why,
Jeff? Where do you have Lamb?
How can you say that?
Damn.
Yeah, like how can you say that? CeeDee Lamb. He's the first guy since no one to be comped to Jerry Rice. Like, are
not
you
really
serious?
working out now, is it?
The talent is there. The talent is there, Corey. You just have to wait for it to hit. The situation has to be right. The quarterback has to be right. The coaching has to be right.
If it takes a quarterback to make the player, man, that's horrible.
Oh,
like Judy.
God.
Like Judy. Hopkins didn't have a problem. This is great. We should do this more often.
Oh,
no, I know what you're saying,
goodness.
but I'm just saying if you have CeeDee Lamb top 5, you need to have Higgins top 5.
No, I don't.
I mean, you should. Higgins has just performed better.
I don't look at it that way. I look at the fact that he's going to still be competing for targets with Jamar Chase. We saw Jamar Chase in his rookie year have the same amount of targets. Who's to say that's going to stay the same? It's definitely not.
I mean, they both are going to command the targets because that's what alpha wide receivers do. But as far for the Cowboys, they're going to bring in their other guy. I mean, they just got James Washington, man.
Oh, whoop-de-doo. And Gallup is IR for the beginning of the season. Thank God.
They're going to draft.
They're going to draft.
Lamb's going to get exposed.
They're going to get a wide receiver.
They're going to draft Treylon Burks.
They're going to keep Lamb in the slot.
So?
I don't know.
Stephon Diggs lines up in the slot.
I would say something. You
Jefferson lines up in the slot. Like, come on.
I say something. You say something, man. I don't know. We just got to see. Look at that. Lamb 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games under 10 points.
I will agree in the fact that his dynasty value has lowered.
2 games over 20.
Which is a buying window. This offseason is a buying window for CeeDee Lamb, specifically if the Cowboys do go out and draft a wide receiver, which they will. Yeah, I would take a shot at buying CeeDee Lamb because I still think he's going to hit.
I bought CeeDee Lamb like a month ago.
There you go.
No, they're both fine.
They're both fine.
They're both fine. This was good practice, though.
Yeah, no, I love debating over players. I mean, I wish I did a little bit more research. He has all the research on T. Higgins. I'm just pulling stats out of thin air.
Yeah, man, because you can't say much. Look at that. 1, 2, 3 games over 100. Yikes. I'm curious what will happen, actually.
I'm curious to see what happens with Dak playing a full season healthy. Like,
did he miss games last game? He played a full season. One game.
He missed the game.
Full season. Technically, if we were in 2020,
without Amari Cooper, without Amari Cooper, there's a difference there. There's a difference.
Good. I mean, he is fine. Jeff, you alluded to that one point on how Cooper would draw the coverage away too.
Yeah, Cooper was the primary receiver for the Cowboys, and he didn't really
imagine Lamb not beating Cooper.
Cooper's a good player, but yeah.
I'm just taking
this is the second year. I don't know. I do push back a little bit on the 3-year rule, though. I think that we've seen a shift in. I think you're getting more development as a younger players, and then I think you got more NFL schemes that are able to open up those players to quick separating routes. And I think that what it used to be was you would want a big wide receiver and a big strong arm quarterback, and you would fight the cornerback for the ball on a 15-yard out, basically. And you just don't see those type of routes really in the NFL all that much anymore.
It's all about speed, agility, and versatility.
All about the slot.
Yeah.
Versatility, to be able to work inside and outside, be able to separate quickly, be able to run after the catch. And I think that those are things that Lamb can do, but I would like to see a little bit more out of Lamb, but he is primed right now, because I did see another note today that Michael Gallup is kind of behind in his rehab. So there might be questions, but they're going to draft Treylon Burks and everybody's going to lose their mind. So that's going to be when you want to buy CeeDee Lamb.
Hell yeah. Wait for it, everyone.